Alright, so I've been putting off this story time for a little while because I just didn't feel emotionally ready to film it. And I'm really glad I waited because I feel like I have a much better perspective to come from now that a couple of weeks have gone by. As you saw from the title, this video is about sending my toddler to preschool. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I've not spent a lot of time thinking about how I want to position this video. I haven't really planned out what I want to say, but I just kind of thought I'd turn the camera on and talk about this today because I did just send my son off to preschool, and it just seemed like a good time to talk about this because I know a lot of moms, especially stay-at-home or work-from-home moms, are going to go through this, whether it's, the first day of daycare, the first day of preschool or regular school. It's that first day when that child who's been home with you for their entire lives is suddenly ripped away and taken somewhere else out of your control. So I wanted to talk about what that first day was like for me and what it's been like since then, to hopefully offer you some encouragement because, spoiler alert, it does get better. So most of you guys probably know that I work from home most days, which means that Roman and my daughter Abby are both here in the house with me. And as much as I always looked forward to preschool starting, I knew it was going to be a hard day when it happened. I was definitely ready for the opportunity for him to go to school and me focus on spending time with Abby, getting more things done around the house that have been on the back burner because there's a toddler here. So I knew it was going to be a bittersweet day, but I just wasn't prepared for how bitter it was. I woke up that morning and immediately was queasy. Just so sick to my stomach, and I found myself throwing up all of these obstacles that would provide a good excuse to keep him home. Oh, I don't have time to put a lunch together. Oh, I didn't pick out an outfit for him. I guess he has to stay home today. And thankfully I have a support system with my parents and my husband who, were like, Amber, he's going to school today and you have to get over it. I got him out the door. I was forced to do a quick goodbye. I was not happy about that, but my preschool had at least forewarned me, hey, when it's that first day, we're gonna take him away and shoo you out the door. We don't want any long goodbyes. So that happened to me against my will, and I did not love that, but I got home and was just queasy, just so sick for the whole 4 hours that he was in school. Which was really surprising to me because I actually thought it would be like ripping the Band-Aid off. I'd drop him off at school and that would be painful and then I would immediately feel relief. But I really didn't. I just kind of stayed feeling sick the entire time that he was gone. Until about half an hour before it was time for him to come home, I kind of perked back up a little bit and my assistant was here and she said, oh, so Roman's about to come home. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you're obviously feeling better. It's because Roman is coming home. And I stopped and thought about it and I was like, yeah, she's actually right. I feel better because I know my kid is on the way home. And it was wonderful getting him back, hearing about his day, discovering that the teacher said he had a great day, everything was fine. And so that was reassuring, to realize hey, all right, it wasn't a disaster of a day for him. He actually enjoyed himself and he did fine. And that was really the only painful day that I had. I cannot tell you what a difference 2 weeks has made in my overall sentiment towards him going to school. So that's it in a nutshell. You can actually stop the video now if you want to. The thesis is, it gets better. All done. But if you want to stick around and hear a little bit more, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I feel that this was such a good choice for us, and maybe to put down some of your worries or concerns if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're thinking about doing this, because for me it was a big deal. So the first thing that I really grappled with was the fact that my son has a mild speech delay. It's nothing bad, but he is definitely behind for someone his age. And my biggest fear in taking him to preschool was the idea of him being frustrated all day long. And in particular, the fear was that his frustration, that inability to express himself and get someone to understand his needs, was going to translate to bad behavior, and my child was going to be labeled as the bad kid in class. You know, when Roman's here at home with me, I know what his words mean. I know what his gestures mean, and he has some weird ones, like he does the Cookie Monster, like nom 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 when he's hungry. And I know what that means, but someone else might not. So my fear was just him going to school and not being able to express himself and acting out, being so frustrated, having a tantrum, and either the teachers forming a bad opinion of him, or the other students not liking him, and that setting him on a negative course. So that speech delay was really a big factor in me hesitating. But what I've learned since he's been at school is that despite the fact that I work with him day in and day out on his speech, and despite the fact that he has a licensed speech therapist who comes to our house and works with him once a week, being in school has made a huge difference. I mean, he's gained probably 20 words in the 2 weeks since he started preschool. And I think it's just because being in that environment, not having somebody there to forecast his needs, has caused him to stretch. He's had to learn that words are okay, words are meaningful, and you gotta use them sometimes, and he is. There's not a day that goes by now that he does not surprise me with a new word that he knows, and that has been amazing. The next thing, and I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I'm gonna disclose it just because there might be someone else who feels this way. Because of my particular background in cognitive psychology and all of my PhD work being focused on learning, I was of the opinion that I would be highly qualified to teach a toddler. In fact, I was kind of arrogant in thinking that I was more qualified than a preschool teacher because I do have a doctorate degree, because I do understand the human brain the way that I do, because I do know techniques for helping people learn, and particularly how to get over emotions that get in the way of learning. And doesn't that sound like a toddler? So I really thought that there was nobody more qualified than me to teach my own son things like colors and animal sounds and just things that toddlers are learning. But it turns out that the adult brain operates a whole lot differently than the toddler brain. And I have learned a very humbling experience, which is I don't know how to educate a toddler. I try to teach him the way you would teach things to an adult, and it does not fly. And so one of the most amazing things that I have appreciated about sending him to preschool is putting him in the capable hands of people who are trained to educate people his age. They just have skills and talents that I don't have. These two women have a particular gift of patience that I don't have, so that whereas I might give up trying to teach my son a color or an animal sound, like they'll just keep at it. And they know he's gonna get it eventually, and they have the skills and training required in order to do that. So I have to say that getting over that pride, maybe, of saying just being able to admit I am not equipped or qualified to educate my toddler, and I'm going to surrender him to the hands of people who are good at that thing, has been very positive for me, and I think you'll find the same. Of course, there was the fear of my poor child's virgin immune system suddenly going off to school and being exposed to just who knows what, and sure enough, he got sick on day 2, and then our whole house got sick, and it was rough for about a week. But even that wasn't a big deal. Like if you're thinking of sending your kid to preschool and that's what you're afraid of, like just get over that. Just accept that you're gonna get sick. Your kid's gonna get sick. If you have siblings in the house, they're all gonna get sick. And you know what? It's not that bad. You get over it. And eventually your child is going to have to develop an immune system anyway, so might as well start young. Now the last thing that I'm gonna address, and I feel that this is the most important, and I wanna spend some time on this one, that is the mom guilt. Now, this won't apply to people who are like moms who work out of the home, and if you do that, you've probably already gone through this process. But for those of us who are stay-at-home or work-from-home moms, I do feel that we have a certain a certain idea in our head that it's just our job to raise our children. And if we want to send them to school, if we feel any kind of relief about sending them there, then we're bad moms. And I think that we're particularly susceptible to this because we've been home with them for so long. For me, it's been 2.5 years. And so you get this feeling that like, I'm supposed to want to be here with my children. I'm supposed to be devastated when they go to school. And yes, to some extent, I think it should be, I think it's perfectly normal to feel sad and to feel the things when they go to school that first day. But I think it's also pretty normal to feel that relief after the initial shock is over. For me personally, and I've really had to learn this about myself, and in fact, I'm making a second video on this topic, but I've had to accept the fact that I'm not the kind of mom that I thought I was going to be, or that I wanted to be. I wanted to be the mom who derives all of my meaning and self-worth out of being a mom. I wanted to be the PTA mom. I wanted to be the school volunteer mom. I wanted to, before I became a mom, I just really thought I was gonna derive all of my joy from being at home with my kids and not working and just being that yummy, gummy mommy that I look up to in my other friends, like my mom was. And I really had to accept the fact that that's not me. Days like that where I'm here with my children and my 100% focus is having to be on them drain me emotionally. My cup is empty by the end of the day. Days when I get to be super productive, when I'm working on projects, I'm growing the sensible mama, I'm doing things around the house, even these tasks and projects that give me a feeling of accomplishment, that is what fills up my cup. And when my cup is full, I'm a better mom. When my cup overflows with joy, that joy flows out onto my children. And when my cup is empty, my children aren't getting any of that joy either. And so I personally have had to recognize the fact that it's okay that I'm not that mom. It's okay that I'm not just like wanting to be with my kids all the time. Like my friend Sarah, who you've seen in some of my videos, that's her. I look up to her so much. But it's not me. And I'm learning to be okay with that. To recognize that when I send my son off to preschool and I spend just 4 hours, 2 days a week, focusing on things that fill my cup, that make me feel accomplished, that improve my self-worth, I am a better mom to him. And maybe it's not, maybe you don't work from home, maybe you are a stay-at-home mom. And so maybe you're thinking to yourself like, well, I don't really have projects that I'm working on that fill me up. That's fine. Whatever it is that you love doing, that brings joy to your life, it's okay to want to do those things and to do them while your kid is in school. Go get your nails done. Go visit your grandmother. Go hang out with some of your friends. Get your shopping done. The things that matter to you, go do them and enjoy them and dismiss the mom guilt because there's no reason to feel guilty. And that to me is the most important thing that I've learned through sending my child to preschool. It's okay for me to be the kind of mom that I am. And the best thing I can do is recognize that and do the things I need to do to make sure I can be that mom. In my case, it's sending my toddler to preschool for 4 hours a day, 2 days a week. And in those 8 hours a week, I get all of my cup filled. And I'm a good mom. Better than I was when he was here all the time and I was just spending a lot of my days feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. So that's my soapbox story time today. I really hope that maybe you related to some of this, that you can identify with it. I hope it was helpful in some way. Of course, feel free to leave comments down below and let me know how you're feeling on your own journey or journey in the past regarding starting school. I love hearing from you guys. So with that said, I'm gonna let you go. Love ya, mean it, always. Mwah! And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.